Okay, this is episode 1, Death Has a Shadow. This is Seth MacFarlane, and I'm here with David Zuckerman, executive producer from season 1 and 2, and Alex Borstein, who is the voice of Lois.
Hi.
Hello.
We should probably explain why this episode is called Death Has a Shadow. Early on, we had this idea to name these episodes very unconventionally, just like real arch names, like you'd hear in old suspense radio shows from the 40s, and obviously that's a pretty low percentage joke.
So they all had to have the word death in it.
Yeah.
We soon discovered, though, that it made it impossible to know which episode was which when we were talking about them afterwards. We couldn't tell. We couldn't tell which ones we were talking about, so we dumped that after, like 4 or 5 episodes.
We had to describe each episode to each other, and it was really the only way we could. Oh, man.
So there actually was no shadow of death in this episode.
No death and no shadows.
This opening song was probably the most unpleasant thing I ever had to do for the show.
Really?
Aww.
Well, just
You
'cause
sound great, Alex.
Seth is such a pro, and I couldn't sing.
Would you
so,
knock it off right now?
Look at that meat.
If you notice in the early ones, we're all very... Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, this is before we learned tact.
This was actually that one gag that we just saw there with the Hitler and the working out got some complaints.
It did.
From people. And it seems so harmless.
Did it? It seemed...
Well, in the overall scheme of things.
It seemed harmless.
Yeah, it seemed like, I would say, sure, about 75% of my job on the show was battling standards.
Well, by God, it worked.
It's interesting to hear the voices in this.
Yeah, we're all much more low-key.
We are.
They all sound like we're drugged. Damn you, vile woman.
This was
They didn't air this till the they cut this out for the first airing.
That's right.
They did? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Not unfair, I mean, for all the goyim out there.
Yeah.
They should have their fill.
What an idiot.
Peter's stupid.
Just how much bigger Peter's eyes were in that first shot.
I think this is my favorite bit.
These were gags that were stolen from my student film, which was a very...
Well, if it's yours, it's not really stealing.
Well, I
is it?
suppose, yeah. Oh, look at the tongues. This is like... We had this extra mouth in our animation mouth charts, and every once in a while you can see somebody's tongue stick out in a really bizarre way.
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. It's something... Probably...
It's something
there it is.
nobody would have noticed except you.
Everyone can relate to having an extra mouth, huh?
Yeah.
This was really hard to get all
By
the
this
color
thing,
out
he
of it.
means his penis, for those viewers under 10. Once again, this is when we all just shut up and just decide we're just going to watch the show.
Yeah.
We're just enjoying it.
I need a refresher. You really don't see a lot of smoking on air anymore. That's,
You
that's
don't,
a really
yeah.
rare scene.
Yeah, well, we try and maintain the old-fashioned values.
While pushing the envelope.
Right.
Yeah.
Edgy,
Oh,
edgy in-your-face comedy.
Something you'll notice in every scene of Family Guy, there are eggs and bacon. Eggs
Oh
and
my
bacon.
God, she's right.
It's kinda,
Wow, there's bacon.
No, slight bit of eggs there.
There's Wall Street guys.
These are two characters that, or at least character types that we kept going back to.
Yeah, there's
a
like
lot.
two businessmen who.
Two guys with a slightly 50s kind of style of delivery.
Oh, wait a second.
That's Seth's alter ego.
Yeah, the
Seth was
50s
born
guy.
30 years too late, I think.
I think so.
Wait, were you born in 1980?
All these. I was. All these cars are going so damn fast these days.
Oh, that Peter.
That's hilarious when he falls off the table.
Once again, this is our second Jew reference.
Yeah, I should be offended.
Yeah, what
but I'm
about
not.
that? This was another one that some people had problems with. Certainly,
G.I. Jew.
Yeah, and
I was actually fine with that. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but
most of the staff was, and we all liked it.
Seth had a lot of Jew on the brain these days.
really,
You did. You had Jew on the brain.
I did.
And that is his
I was
boss.
doing a lot of Jew in those days.
What was her name again?
Peter's boss disappeared after some time.
Yeah, after a few seasons, I guess. That's the very talented Lori Allen doing the voice of Diane.
Yes, she'll be in at some point.
Are you implying she's out?
Well, no, I mean, no, she'll be here. She'll be here in the booth later.
I gotcha. I understand. It's a little comedy there.
That was the first appearance of Tom and Diane, I believe.
Damage this company's reputation. You're fired! Oh, jeez, for how long?
Oh my God, you got fired?
Way to go, Dad! Fight the machine!
Something I never understood. The dog can talk,
Well,
Yeah.
and now can people understand the dog?
Can people understand the baby, or like?
why is he British?
I don't know.
understand.
I don't know.
We actually alluded to that at the end of one episode.
Well,
We had
yeah.
people in the future
Yeah.
discussing Family Guy. Well, this was a fun bit. The
Yeah,
Angel
yeah.
Devil.
This was a high concept bit.
That's right.
That coffee that looks like mud. See, look, there's that tongue again. Watch his mouth.
Oh, I see. It just kind of licked up there.
Yeah.
The ladies enjoy that. I think that's where you got the numbers with the ladies.
Look what they're eating. What the hell is that?
What is that?
Baked beans and sliced carrots.
I thought it was Ritz crackers and vomit.
I thought it was those peanut crackers, peanut-shaped...
Circus peanuts.
Yes.
We had a lot of issues with the way food was drawn on the show.
We did?
Well, I did
All
personally,
right.
but
Thank
I
you.
believe at first they didn't have anything on their plates the first time around.
yeah.
It's always disturbing to see Brian sitting like that.
Yeah. We kind of abandoned that, I guess. He
Yeah, it's
didn't.
disturbing.
Oh, that's you also, Alex, doing
That is me.
Gag.
I did a lot of really fine work on this show.
You really did. You really did. Oh, I should point out that in the original version, he actually says bullshit. By the way, we can swear on this. I don't know if I mentioned that. So,
No shit.
oh yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
Great.
God.
We don't have to, though, right?
We don't have to.
The music is really, it really adds to the drama.
Ron Jones and Walter Murphy.
Now, this is one of the scenes that this is one of the major changes from the original presentation. Was the idea that Lois didn't know that Peter got this money,
Right. You can. That'll actually be on there too, so they can
Oh, the original.
see how it's
Oh,
evolved.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a little attempt to put a little more of a story into the presentation.
Forget about story. I remember when Lois was a blonde.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
that's
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. There was a huge. If you look at the presentation,
She was
film,
blonde.
One of the writers on staff was especially disappointed. I think he really
Danny
had the hots for Lois.
for
as a
blonde
blonde.
Lois. Yeah. I took shit from him
Did.
about that for quite some time.
Hey, look, the angel has his own little angel and devil.
Haven't seen that before, huh?
That's what you call a twist on an old
Oh yes.
something.
Boy, Stewie doesn't even sound like Stewie.
Yeah, they all kind of sound different. Stewie's really well hung in that shot.
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
There's something wrong with that.
Is that
Wow.
just me?
Can we
You know,
erase that?
you're a woman. It's okay. If one of us had said it, it would have been viewed as tasteless.
I don't know. What's the name of the paper there? We got the daily.
The Quahog Informant.
The Quahog Informant. That's
Yeah.
right.
A quahog, of course, being a clam indigenous to the Rhode Island area, or the New England waters.
It was a great choice. It was really easy to spell as a writer.
Yeah, that was
That was nice.
Quahog. It's spelled nothing like it sounds.
Looks like quahog.
That's hilarious. That's very funny. I love that from your original. The whole idea of the Quahog thing was to give it a sense of New England.
Yes.
To try
Yes.
to give it a flavor for the area.
I would have thought getting drunk at a stag party would get me $150,000 a week from the government. This is why I don't vote. Hey, maybe somebody down there was drinking too, huh?
Mr. President, why do you think the American public has continued to...
I love the sound of my own voice.
Hey, remember Bill Clinton?
Oh, with fondly in these dark ages. I can be politically partisan on this thing, right?
Think of the fun that we would have had with Bush, though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That is an odd-looking penis.
Mm. Look at how it lands.
It lands erect.
What are the odds of that?
You
Jesus.
boys.
You're the one looking at Stewie's package.
Look at Stewie's eyes. Just about 8 sizes too big. Does that also get you off, Alex?
It may. Look, I happen to think Stewie's worth the wait. 17 years?
Wow.
I got time.
When did you guys get a pool? Oh, it's a mo.
We actually got a lot of celebrities to do their own voices, but that wasn't one of them. Clearly.
Oh, the Black Knight. Lori Allen doing the male lady. She's also the voice of Diane. Now, it was interesting. We actually, whenever the characters had to swear, we would record it. Like, that was actually you saying, what the fuck.
Yes,
You want to do that for people, maybe? They want to hear.
What the fuck?
There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, you just made a lot
It's
of
always
people
a
happy.
pleasure
Did
to
I?
hear Alex Borstein swear.
That wasn't Alex.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's Lois.
That was Lois. I like Lois's round feet. Her little round shoes.
She's such a stick in the mud, isn't she?
She really is. She's always bringing them down.
It's not her fault. It's how
Why are
she
you
was
always
written.
raining on my fucking parade, Lois?
There's that sitting position again.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this was interesting. In the we found out through the production process that we were going to premiere behind the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think Danny, was it? Somebody came up with the brilliant idea of having them distribute the money over the Super Bowl.
Can we talk
That was-
about the money, the animated money?
Oh, the fact that there's no markings on it?
Yeah,
See, that
what
was
is
always
that?
tricky, because, like, how detailed do you get? If you get too detailed, it just turns to, like, black mush with all the, like, the ink runs together.
Right now they look like coins taped to pieces of green paper.
Well, you know, right now you look like an asshole. Alex, sorry about the asshole thing.
It's okay. You didn't mean it. You're under a lot of pressure with this DVD thing.
Just when Fox was the big slogan back then.
Which no one probably remembers now.
No.
That guy had no mouth. God, some of these backgrounds are actually lifted from the original presentation that I did, and they're just really badly drawn.
No one knows but you.
How many times does Peter say that over the course of the series?
What was I thinking? How could I be so incredibly stupid?
Peter Shin, very talented director, directed this episode.
Am I glad to see you?
I have nothing to say to you, Peter.
What? I gave the money back. Why are you still steamed?
Peter, you lied to me. You betrayed my trust. compared
Lois,
to that
get the
welfare
fuck
program.
off my back, all right? I swear to God, I'm this close from backhanding you. Jesus Christ.
PETA. P-E-T-A.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
There's that tongue again.
Coming up is probably the most often
Oh, yeah.
cited gag in the
Yes.
in the series, which
Yes.
is the Kool-Aid bit.
We should add that the judge is voiced by Phil Lamar.
That's right, very talented.
yeah.
Phil Lamar.
Yes, from Mad TV.
The Kool-Aid gag though, which is I've probably ruined it because I've told you it's coming up. Here it is. Ready?
Oh, no.
Which we all really loved, and
You
somebody
did
very high
completely
up
ruin
at
it.
Fox. I'm sorry.
Completely ruined it.
wanted it cut before broadcast because they were afraid it would totally alienate the audience, and this was a very high level person, and we had to take it very seriously, but it was something that that we really fought for, and it turned out to be one of the most popular bits.
You don't want to mention any names, but
No, I don't.
oh,
But he's a wonderful man, and
Yeah,
we love him, and I still work
He
for him.
was actually one of our biggest supporters otherwise, but it was just one incident where we really had to fight for something we liked.
how did you draw his head like that?
Alex, I don't know.
It's so funny looking.
Stewie's voice comes from Rex Harrison as Henry Higgins in the popular production My Fair Lady.
All the kids today know what that is, right?
All the kids today, yeah.
Very popular.
This judge like waffled back and forth from being black to white in like various episodes. Some episodes, he's like the same guy, but some episodes you notice he's white, others he's black.
Well,
We wanted to be
he
so
struggles with
progressive.
that.
See, there used to be a show on called TV's Bloopers and Practical Jokes. That's what this is a reference to.
It was actually dated when this show originally aired.
It was a running theme of the show to have something burst through a wall.
Mm. Peter's hair goes from black to brown there.
We actually added those last two bits because they felt the affirmative action thing was offensive. So
Oh, that's right.
remember we had to add the sexual
Yeah.
harassment because sexual harassment makes it okay.
To say, well,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just offend everybody, and
Do you think anyone's gonna watch this?
Credits?
The
What-
DVD?
I would imagine. That's what you mean the commentary?
Yeah.
They're not going to watch it, they're going to listen to it.
Yeah.
You think? Let's send little subliminal messages.
Paul is dead.
Wow,
That's it.
that's it.